strong thoughts. You know, as you were
Yeah.
talking, listening to Black Lives Matter movement, you know, cool, looking at the 60s and the 70s and where we were as Black people then, and, you know, the civil rights movement then, and then looking at where we are now. What are your thoughts between the different generations with the civil rights movement then and Black Lives Matter now? What do you feel is the difference between the two, in your opinion?
Yeah, well, Black Lives Matter today is more people coming together. I know we're talking about Black Lives Matter, but you're also talking about lives matter. And everybody's kind of looking at that and respecting that. You know, when you see white people or Asians, or when you look and see all these people that's out there saying that Black Lives Matter, you didn't see that back during in the 60s and the 70s. You know, you saw what we saw during that time. But today, like, everybody's coming together. You got people in London talking about Black Lives Matter. People in Israel, Black Lives Matter. The Chinese, Black Lives Matter. Lives matter. It's to me, like this brother, I think it's the young movement that's, you know, that's saying, hey, we ain't going for that old time religion which y'all had. You know, the young folks, the millennials, is making another move, making a serious move. Now, of course, you have social media, but they're coming out, and I think they're very serious about what's going on. Not to say that we weren't serious, but they're making the difference. That's what matters. Yeah. What's going on with these young people there?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something, IDK?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, like, seeing other groups of people pushing the Black Lives Matter movement to the extent that they're doing it is a big difference. Again, that's why I was saying I don't know what was documented, everything. That's why I'm like, when I saw what was documented, I saw a majority of Black people. You'd see sprinkles of white people there, here and there, but it was a majority Black people pushing the movement, and everybody else was kind of like, that's not my problem. I'm not Black, so I don't got to deal with that for the most part. Now, people are starting to get to a place where they understand the importance of not being, not just being anti-racist, but being pro-Black. You know, we have an unfair disadvantage because of how we were brought to this country a lot of the time. And it's a lot more unfair than even some of the immigrants that come from other countries or by their choice. So people are starting to understand and see that and pay attention to that, and they're taking a stance. A lot of people are pressured to do it because of social media, because they follow this artist and they consume this, and that's the pressure we're putting on them. So, you know, some people genuinely feel this, some people are pressured to do this, but that's fine. All of that is awareness, and that's cool. I'm cool with that. Like, I would prefer people to genuinely feel that way, but at least we got something. Now, that's why I said I don't know if it's going to happen in our generation, but we're making a level of progress that we have never made before. And I think we got to focus on that and continue to drill that in and continue to push this movement.
I love that. And, you know, Phil, from your lens, from where you sit, how do you see with your label, what do you think they're going to be doing differently, more of in line with this movement now?
You just got to continue to be loud. I mean, I have some of my colleagues that, you know, talk to me about all lives matter. And I remind them that by saying Black Lives Matter, we're not discounting any other group or set of people. But what I'm saying, if I'm on the street, a bunch of houses, and this one house is on fire, we don't need to be worried about the other houses in that moment. This shit on fire right here. We got to look at the houses on fire. Let's address this one. And that's all we're saying, like, Black lives, we're the ones that are getting publicly lynched on video for you to see. Again, it's been happening for decades. It's just now being documented. And so, but yeah, we got a responsibility. And I tell people, yeah, I work for Sony Music. I'm grateful for, but before all that, I'm a Black man. And when they see me, I get pulled over. I'm a Black man in the car. I'm a Black man before all of this. So yeah, to me, it's like, we got to continue to just push for equality, man. And it's to IDK's point, hopefully we see it in our lifetime, but even if our grandkids benefit from the work and the foundation we're laying now, it's all worth it. But we got, you know, that's what it's got to be at this point. So
I
I'm
love that.
doing the work.
No, I love that. I love what you said. And, you know, whenever people bring up all lives matter and things like that, a lot of something that goes hand in hand with that with a lot of people is they try to say, you know, everybody's not racist. All white people aren't racist. And what I usually say to that is a white person being racist could cost me my life. Me assuming a white person being racist is not necessarily going to cost them their life. It's me avoiding a situation that could happen. It's literally, when I go on tour, it's no joke. If we're down south somewhere and I feel like I got to go use the bathroom, I feel so uncomfortable walking in. It could be a situation where nobody's actually racist, but I have to brace myself for what could possibly happen because I don't know what I'm walking into. It's not the same way the other way around. And that right there says that we have something that needs to be, that people need to pay attention to a little bit more than maybe what white people and other people have to go through. So it's like, that's the thing that I'm trying to like get across to other people. You know what I mean? We're not allowed to us giving you the benefit of the doubt could cost us our lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know, IDK,
oh,
not to cut you off, but one of the things that I feel you've kind of taken control of your own narrative as it relates to things, because at the end of the day, you own your master recordings. You're not a quote unquote slave. And is there a message in the music? And if there is, are you giving one? Because I love that you own your own recordings. This is your stuff. And that's taking control of the narrative.
So the most important thing that to know and people should know is that for me, everything that has to do with the progression of Black people, for me, is my stance is educating our people, period. I might go out and protest and check it out and see what's going on and stuff. I think people need to protest because that spreads awareness, but everything I do is through education. Because I think if I was to put percentage on everything, I'd say 20% of it is spreading awareness through probably protesting and things like that. I think 10% of it is time and waiting. I think 80% of it is educating our people on what to do, what not to do. So I'll give you an example. I just bought land in Joshua Tree, right? For the same price, for less than most people would have bought a chain. Like I'm talking about, I own a piece of America. Acres.
Congratulations.
Of land.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Acres of land. You know who taught me that? A Jewish person, not a white person. I learned this from a Jewish person. But guess what? I learned so much from some certain people. Not a Black person. Sorry, Jewish person. I learned so much from them, and a lot of people learn things from them because they have a history of finance. That's what they come from. They pass this down generation to generation. Our problem is we haven't been doing that. How come I bought this land and I told everybody that around me about this land and nobody knew they could do that? It seemed like that was impossible to do, to a lot of Black people. The problem is we're not educating each other. We're not taking the time to really do that. And I think that's one of the most important things right now that we can do is when we gain knowledge that's valuable, we actually take that and then give it to the next Black person. And we continue to do that. Someone just said, are we too competitive? Hell yeah. We are definitely. I'm not competing with nobody. I'm competing with myself. I want to be a better version of me every day. I've reached a certain level of success. When you start competing with everybody, trying to see what they got and all that, you start to lose the big picture, one, and then you start to actually hurt yourself. So I've gotten out of that. I don't even think about that. I literally compete with myself and everybody who is especially Black, especially people that are part of my team, family, whoever people I care about. I try to give them the knowledge because here's the thing. If I can help you get to somewhere, right? If anything happens to me, hopefully the idea is you could do the same for me and we can continue to build each other up. Here's a way to break that down. It's basically an analogy or metaphor, but it's direct. If I buy this land in Joshua Tree, and then I say, I want you to buy this land in Joshua Tree too. It's cheap. Go get it. If you buy land right next to mine and you decide to build a house there, the value of my land goes up. If I build my house, your value of your land goes up. If we get more and more people to keep doing this, eventually all of our land is going to be worth millions of dollars. That's the exact same concept in the sense of us helping each other out, as opposed to trying to, if I go over there, I'm like, oh, I got land in Joshua Tree, I'm not telling nobody. All right, we're gonna sit there and land ain't gonna be, you know what I'm saying? We just
and you know what, speaking of, you know, helping people out, one of the things is through, you know, giving back. And I know Kool Bell, as a living legend, how is Kool and the Gang in your foundation responding to this time? Because I know you have a wonderful foundation too, and you're giving back. So how are you doing that during this time, Kool?
Well, we're working towards that. I mean, we have the Cool Kids Foundation that we're going to be doing some things next month. And we have been involved with various fundraisers over the years. And we believe it's very important to give back, you know, and, you know, it's teaching, I guess, back in the day, you know, with the, I have to say, the Nation of Islam, because they talk about working together and building restaurants and building schools and teaching to children. It's very important, you know, because, you know, you have knowledge and you have wisdom, but the one who understands the knowledge and the wisdom that they have and to be able to apply that to life, because you can be knowledgeable and living up in the mountain somewhere, but what you're doing with the knowledge that you have, what are you applying to the world, help things move in the world? So to me, you know, understanding is very important. So we have to work towards that, you know, and that's kind of like how I see it. You know, too much is given, much is expected of.